Hi guys, we're looking at your 3.1 homework from Khan Academy, looking at the midpoint formula. All right, so two different ways that we can approach this specific problem. What you guys have learned from class is when we're talking about finding the distance, right? If we're given just coordinates, so if we had just these coordinates, we would use the distance formula. And then if we were given a graph, we could use Pythagorean theorem. Pythagorean's theorem to find the distance. Or, right, midpoint formula. All right, I'm going to go ahead and write that out for us. So if we're finding the midpoint, there is a formula that we can use, and it's pretty simple. We're going to add up both of the x values and divide them by 2. What we're doing is we're finding the average of the x values, and then we're also going to find the average of the y values. All right. Like I mentioned at the start of this video, lots of different ways to do the same thing. If you kind of forgot the midpoint formula, you can use the distance formula and then divide them by 2, whatever your, write the distance by 2, and you could find that point. Pythagorean's theorem, right? Same idea. You can find the distance divided by 2. But sometimes it might be like a decimal. So we want to make sure when we're looking with midpoint, we're focusing on midpoint formula. All right. So we're going to go ahead and label x1, y1, x2, y2. Okay. Let me use Khan Academy. Okay. So plugging this in, x1, we said that was -1. And we're going to add that to x2, which is 7. We're going to divide those by 2. And then that's to find the x value. To find the y value, same idea, but with the y's. So 8 plus 3, we're just taking the average of the y values, adding them up, and dividing them by 2. Okay, I think there's a calculator. No, they don't have a calculator, but it's okay. We can do it. 7 minus 1 is +6. Divided by 2 would be 3 for x. And then 8 plus 3, so 8, 9, 10, 11. 11 divided by 2, so this is where now we're going to have a fraction. I believe it's just going to be 5.5, but I want to make sure. Yep, 5.5. Checking the calculator. Okay, so let's go ahead and plug that in. 3 and 5.5. We've got our work. Hooray! All right, so midpoint formula. And let's try another one. Give me a moment to refresh this. All right, so now we're looking at a new problem, and we're just going to try it one more time. So we've got point A and point M. I forgot to also show in the last one for the graph, but the midpoint would be halfway between, so we'll show it in this one, this example. But we're going to follow same procedure. We've luckily that like kind of our annotations here stayed. So we're just going to plug it in, x1 and x2. So -3 plus 0.5, -0.5 divided by 2 for the x values, and then for the y values, we're going to take -5 and 0 and divide by 2. So you'll notice, right, we're going to have -3.5 divided by 2 and then -5 divided by 2. So this is where we definitely want to have a calculator just to be safe checking. So for the x value would be -1.75 in this example, and then the y value should be -2.5. 5 divided by 2, yep, 2.5, and they're negative. Okay, so before I plug in the answers, let's check, right? So what are we doing here? Like what's going on for this midpoint? So we're finding, like this would be the, try this again. Doesn't seem that challenging to connect dots in a straight line until you're doing it. All right, so this is the distance. So finding the midpoint, like the name suggests, midpoint, the middle point, we can check when x is -1.75, so like kind of really close to -2, and when y is -2.5, so that looks like it's going to be about right there. And you can tell, yep, it looks like that distance is halfway. They're evenly spaced out. So let's plug it in. -1.75, 1.75, and -2.5. I don't know, everything jumped up, but there we go. Yep. Point, is that a 5 too? 0.75. Yeah, 0.75. Okay. Check. Oh no, not quite. Let's see, what did I miss? Dun dun dun. Okay. Let's check. They are both negative. Well, this is a good part in the video, right? Mistakes are always part of the learning process, and it's okay when we make mistakes. All right, so if a mistake happens to you, right, we're going to take a breath and we're going to go slow. We're going to check back. What did we do? So I'm going to just relabel. I'm not going to redo the problem, but I'm just going to make sure that I plug everything in correctly. So x1 and y1, -3 and -0.5. Yep, they're both negative. They add to give us -3.5. Okay. -3.5, let's double check. 3.5 divided by 2. Yep, it would be -1.75. Let's see. And y1, let me make sure we're answering the question too. Point A is here, M is here. Point M, ooh. See, this is why it's a recording. No one can stop me. No one stop me. If we were finding the midpoint, we do have the midpoint of A and M, but oh no, that's not what they were asking us. Let me see if I can figure out how to clear this. That's not what they were asking us to do. Oh no. They're telling us that M is the midpoint. Okay. I was gonna say, like, that's really small. Okay, so this one we have to work backwards. I'm glad that we've like trialed and error. We're learning this. We're learning this together. Okay, we can do this. We can do this. Okay, M is the midpoint. We want to know the coordinate for B. Coordinate for B. You could kind of like, gauge about where that's going to be at. Maybe it's gonna be like somewhere in this area, right? Like halfway. Our mystery point B. We're gonna have to figure out where it is. All right. We do have enough information, I promise. We already know, so let me erase this because this is not our x2, y2, because B is our unknown. M is the midpoint, so we're just gonna work backwards. So this is the formula for midpoint, okay? And we know what the coordinate is for the midpoint. We know what A is. We need to know what B is. So we're going to kind of like break this up into two parts. Let me change our color here. So we're going to start with the X values. We're just going to highlight looking at X. So we know the X value for M, right? The X value is -0.5. So that would be our answer from here, right? And we know what X1 is. We know it's -3, but we don't know what X2 is, right? And we got this, guys. This isn't too bad. We're just isolating our variable. We're gonna draw a line. It's just a little bit more work. And this is my bad for not reading the reading the description first, but it's okay. Mistakes happen. We learn from them. We're gonna isolate x. We're gonna get x by itself because our goal is to figure out where is this coordinate b. Where is this at? All right. Multiply by 2. That would be -1 equals -3 plus this mystery number. We want to get this mystery coordinate by itself, so we're going to add 3 to both sides. We'll get x2 is at 2, +2. And that kind of matches up with about what we've got here, right? So it might be at 2,5. We'll find out. All right, so already I've got to update this to be 2 because we're finding the coordinate for B. We want to know what the other coordinate is. Okay, so we're done with the x values. We're going to move on to the y values. This was the x values. I'm going to do y values over here because I've got some more space. And this is what's really nice about Con too, is you've got space to write, or write scratch paper. Okay, here we go. What is the y value? 0. So that's the midpoint, right? If we knew what B value was, we could plug it in and we would get this. So we're just kind of working backwards. So y1, we already know, is -5. But y2, we don't know yet. That's our goal, is we're going to try to figure out what that value is. That's our goal. You can just set it up like that. All right, same idea. Our objective, if you will, is to isolate this variable we would like to know what it equals. So we're going to go ahead and get rid of this 2, this fraction, which I know is bothering everyone. We're going to get rid of it. 2 times 0, anything times 0 is still 0. -5 plus y2. We're going to add 5 to both sides. We'll get y2 equals just +5, which makes sense, right? Because we want the answer to be 0, so -5 plus 5 is 0, divided by 2 is still 0, right? So that's kind of, I'm like honestly very impressed because I'm not very good at drawing straight lines to begin with, but can we just take a moment to appreciate that? Like that's a just wow moment. I'm very impressed with myself here, that I was able to like pretty much find the point. But we don't want to go based off of, an estimate. We wanted to make sure we did the math, checked our work. All right, let's plug it in. 2, 5. No wonder Khan Academy was like, what's going on here? This is not right. Hooray. Okay. So now you can use this video. Those are the 2 variations that you'll see in your homework. Use the video and take notes of the procedures, the process. You can go back and use this for your homework. All right, as always, any questions, please reach out. Bye, guys.